Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we will cover the addition and subtraction of fractions. Okay. Now, the key to these problems is finding a common denominator. All right. Now, what is a denominator? Essentially, a fraction is written in a format where you have something. We'll just call it something A over B. Now, this is essentially a division problem, but a fraction, the top part of a fraction is called a numerator, and the bottom part of a fraction is called the denominator. All right. Now, the key says find common denominators. So to add two fractions, the bottom part has to be the same. So for example, if we have a fraction that says, let's say 1/2 plus 3/2, all right? Now, this denominator is already constant. Therefore, we can simply add the numerators, or the numbers on top. So 1 plus 3 gives us 4. And the idea is to keep the bottom numbers the same, giving us 4/2. So how about if we had this as a problem? If we just had 1 plus 3/2, okay? Now, we can't do this problem because we don't have a common denominator over here, all right? Then the question is, how can we have a common denominator? Well, before we get into that, the denominator of 1 of any whole number is always just itself over 1, okay? Now, let's do a couple of examples over here. Now, addition and subtraction follow the exact same steps. How about if we have, how about if we have 5 plus 6 over 5? Now we want to add these. To add them, we have to have a common denominator. Our first step should be to write 5 over 1, because again, this fraction bar is essentially a division problem. So we can say that we have 5 divided by 1. Any number divided by 1 is simply itself. So we want to do a common denominator. The idea is that we take this denominator, whatever the denominator is, and multiply it over here, okay? But the trick is we do it on the top and the bottom, all right? And we take this denominator and multiply it over here on the top and bottom. Now the question is, why on the top and the bottom? Well, if we simply multiplied the 5 onto the bottom and the 1 onto the bottom, what would happen is that we would be changing the value of this piece right here. Okay? In math, you can rewrite things, but you cannot change the value without taking that change into account. So I multiplied the top with 5 also. What that does is that 5 divided by 5, any number divided by itself, is simply 1. Therefore, this expression is actually a 1, even though it looks like 5 over 5. So let's multiply this with the top. So 5 times 5 gives us 25. On the bottom, we have 5 times 1, that gives us 5. Plus 6 times 1 gives us 6. 5 times 1 over here gives us 5. Now the next step is to do 25 plus 6, because we keep the denominator constant in our answer. So the same denominator that's here, we keep it over here. So 25 plus 6 will give us 31. Okay, now this is our answer. We got this using common denominators. Let's just do a couple more of these problems. Okay, so if we have, let's say, 6 divided by 7 plus 1/2. How will we do this, or how will we add these? Well, first step is to make a common denominator. So take this denominator over here, okay, and multiply it on the top and the bottom on the left side. Okay. Then take this denominator right here, and I'm going to draw an arrow right here, and multiply it on the top and the bottom right here. So what that will give us is, on the top we'll have 2 times 6, which is simply 12. On the bottom we'll have 7 times 2, which is 14, plus, over here we have 1 times 7, that gives us 7. On the bottom, 7 times 2 is 14. We can see that we have a common denominator right here. So the next step is to simply add 12 and 7, which will give us 19 over 14 as our answer. All right. Now, although we're doing simply addition problems, for subtraction it works the same way. All right. So in other words, if we had something like 3/2 minus 1/4, what we can simply do is take this 2 right here, multiply it top and bottom, 2 over 2. Over here, we can multiply this top and bottom by 4 over 4, which then gives us 4 times 3 is 12, divided by 4 times 2 gives us 8, minus 2 divided by 4 times 2, which is 8. 12 minus 2 will end up giving us 10 with the 8 on the bottom. Okay. Now this is our answer. This can be simplified further down into 5 over 4, pulling out greatest common factors. All right. Because 10 over 8 is simply same as saying 2 times 5 over 2 times 4. 2 times 5 gives us 10. 2 times 4 is 8. The 2's can cancel out if they are on top of each other, and they're being multiplied. So 5 over 4 is our simplified answer, although both are correct. All right. Now, right now we were just working with numbers. So let's try to change this and work with some variable terms. Okay, and we'll do 2 of these problems. We have 5 divided by x plus 3 divided by x plus 2. Again, same step. Take this denominator right here, multiply it top and bottom, x plus 2 divided by x plus 2. And this denominator, multiply it right here, x divided by x. All right? Now, the next step is to distribute. Okay, now if you have questions regarding the distributive property, you may message us and we will be more than happy to create a video answering just that. So in other words, we have 5x plus 10 on top divided by, well, this x also gets distributed inside, giving us x squared plus 2x plus 3 times x divided by x squared plus 2x. We can simplify this on the top by simply saying 5x plus 3x will give us 8x, and plus 10, let's not forget that. On the bottom we'll have x squared plus 2x, right? And this will be our simplified fraction. Okay? And this will be all for this video. In our next video we will actually go over the multiplication and the division of fractions.